Catherine Forster from GB News.
Thank you, Catherine Forster, GB News. As you've said, Nigel Farage is also holding a press conference at the moment. He's come up with £25 billion of savings, apparently, including ending universal credit payments for all foreign nationals, including EU citizens with settled status. What do you think of that proposal? And also, if I may, freezing tax thresholds, as you've said, is a tax rise on millions of people. You did it for years and years through to 2028. Why was it okay for you to do that, but not okay for Labour? Thank you.
Thank you. So you asked what we think of the idea of removing universal credit from EU citizens with settled status. It is a bad idea. And it is a bad idea because we spent a lot of time negotiating those rights, not just for EU citizens in this country, but British citizens in other countries in the EU. You start unpicking that, and you start unpicking all of the work that was done year after year after year, with a lot of pain and, and effort during those years when we were negotiating Brexit. Nigel Farage says that he will just renegotiate those rules. This is completely ridiculous. This man does not know what he's talking about. I am a former trade secretary. Even with friendly countries, trade negotiations are very, very difficult. That is why Keir Starmer has given away the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, because they don't know what they're doing. The idea, and we heard these arguments even when he was campaigning for Brexit, that it would be so easy, we'll just walk in and we'll tell the EU what to do. It doesn't work like that. And it is wrong of him to deceive people, lie to them, and make them think this is going to be easy. Government is difficult. That is what we learned. And we need parties in our country, not just Reform, but the Greens and the Lib Dems, to get a grip and start fixing the issues we have rather than living in La La Land. Yeah. And on the point of tax thresholds, it was wrong to do that. I have said the taxes were too high under previous Conservative governments. I am the new leader of the Conservative Party. I'm not a former Prime Minister. I am talking about what the Conservative Party will do when we are in government next time. I don't have a time machine to go back and fix what other people did. We can also see that those things didn't work. We have learned those lessons. Let's try something new. Let's back business. Right now, businesses are struggling, high street businesses in particular. That's why we want to lift the business rates burden off the high street. It is business that creates jobs, not government. That is why we need to get the burden off business ASAP. Lifting the tax threshold, changing the tax thresholds, freezing the tax thresholds, like Rachel Reeves looks like she's planning to do, is just going to create yet more problems like her last budget created. Thank you, Catherine.
Just quickly on that. So I think there's a big distinction between what happened under us in government, which is that we faced huge inflationary pressures from the Ukraine-Russia war, which had to be dealt with. We had COVID, which shrank the UK economy by over 10% overnight. Yeah. And the response to that necessitated various changes, some of which were uncomfortable. What we're looking at here is something entirely different. Absolutely. We're looking at a government that has trashed the economy by taking the wrong choices.
Exactly.
Loading up businesses with taxes, borrowing and spending like there's no tomorrow, pushing up inflation, keeping interest rates higher than they would otherwise be, mounding up our national debt with a huge servicing cost on that national debt and blown fiscal headroom. That is how they've arrived at this place. And the key distinction also is if they do extend the freeze of these thresholds, that will be a clear breach of their manifesto commitment.
Exactly, exactly. Mel said it a lot better than I did. This is why we are a team. Yes. Ryan Savey from The Sun.